The Athletic are reporting that Marcus Rashford turned up for training, for preseason training, despite the fact that Manchester United basically gave him extended time off and all of that. And we're going to kind of react to it. We're going to break down all of the things that have been said, all the things that have been, talked about in all of this, and how, like what I think about it. Like basically with the reaction to Marcus Rashford turning up. I don't know what this means. I don't know what he's trying to achieve and all of that. But we're going to just kind of break it down and tell you. But basically, the Athletic is reporting that Marcus Rashford, basically, let me just get the news here. Marcus Rashford is back at Carrington. That's what the Athletic is saying. Not with the squad, not in the team training, but back on his way, on his own, quietly. That's what they said. And now, on the surface, it might not seem like much, but the player is showing up early for training. But when you look at the context, the timing and what the move really signals, it opens up a much larger conversation about Rashford, his future, and Manchester United's mess in transfer window. Now, let's get into it, basically. Last Friday, Manchester United officially confirmed that 5 players will be given extra time off at the start of the preseason. Marcus Rashford, Jadon Sancho, Alejandro Garnacho, Anthony, and Tyrell Malacia. The reason? To allow them space to resolve their uncertain futures, right? Now, the idea was if you are on the transfer list or if the club is actively trying to sell you, you won't be reintegrated into the first team activities just yet. Now, pretty standard. That is what basically happens at every club, every big club, exactly, to kind of like keep the distractions away. Let Ruben Amorim get to work with the core of the players that he sees as part of the future. But what happened on Monday and on Tuesday? Marcus Rashford showed up anyway. He didn't rejoin the team training. He walked out on his own. But the message is loud and clear. Now, either Rashford is trying to get ahead of speculation or he's making a statement. Or maybe both. We never can tell. We're just, trying to guess what the idea is and all of that. But let's be clear, Rashford wasn't expected at Carrington yet, right? He was part of the group, essentially told, take your time, find a move if you can. So for him to return early, there's a few things, basically. First, professionalism, all things that he could be saying. He could easily be on the beach in Miami right now, waiting for his agent to make calls, but he chose to come in. That deserves credit. You never can tell because he's working out on his own. Fitness and form. Let's not forget, last season was a nightmare for Rashford. A year after his best ever campaign, he struggled for form. He missed the Euros and was loaned to Aston Villa and had his number 10 shirt stripped just on Monday. Now worn by Matheus Cunha, as I said in the last video. Coming back early could mean that he wants to prove something. We never know. Also, number 3, there is also a mixed messaging from the club. That's what we could speculate. According to the Athletic, some players' camps have denied asking to leave, contradicting United's line that all the 5 had asked to go, right? So was Rashford really pushing for an exit, or that the club is setting the narrative to justify a fire sale? You never know. And I think the club is trying to, make it easy for them to find moves at other clubs, right? Now, let's try to read between the lines and try to understand motives here. With motives, let's talk motives. On Rashford's side, the fact is he wants to play. He wants to be fit. He may also prefer a move abroad. Barcelona, case in point. He wants to play in Barca. We're talking about it and all that. But with few concrete offers, he's covering his bases. He's trying his best to cover his bases because there's few concrete offers coming. Now, on the United side, they need to sell. Manchester United needs to sell, it's obvious. So we can buy again. Brand Bumo is the focus, but they need funds. Funds are needed. If we can get Rashford sold, that would be a good thing as well. But the hope was not that Rashford, Sancho, and Garnacho, all players with market value, would attract big bids. Yep. The hope was that Rashford, Sancho, and Garnacho, and all players with market value, including Anthony and Tyrell Malacia, would attract big bids, right? Tyrell Malacia, recently I saw news, I don't know how reliable that source is, that Celtic are interested in signing him for 3 million euros or 3 million pounds. I don't know. We signed him for 12 million pounds 3 years ago. Well, let's see how that goes. But it hasn't happened for Rashford. He reportedly drew some interest from Barcelona and Bayern Munich, as we said. Barca cooled off after their Nico Williams deal collapsed. Bayern, they are monitoring, but haven't opened talks at all, right? And now we've got this situation where Rashford is back, but not really back. It's awkward, it's blurry, and it speaks volumes about the broader transfer mess this club still finds itself in. Now, if we're going to talk about Amorim's perspective in all of this, let's bring it back to Ruben Amorim. This is a manager trying to establish authority, identity, and a clear sporting project. Rashford, Sancho, Anthony, Garnacho, Tyrell Malacia, all part of the previous era, right? All under scrutiny. I mean, Rashford came from the academy, played under several managers, right? Including Mourinho, Van Gaal, and the likes. Sancho came under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and then obviously played under a couple of managers. Nothing to show. Anthony came under Erik ten Hag. Same thing. Nothing to show. Garnacho, brought up by Erik ten Hag in 2022. Nothing. Like, he has, attitude and character and everything. Kind of screwed everything up. And then you have Tyrell Malacia. Came under ten Hag. 12 million. Was a steal. Had a good first season. Had an ACL and meniscus injury. Boom. Went out for 18 months and lost his form, lost his place, lost everything. Could have been a very good ideal right back if he had the second season at ten Hag. By now, we probably wouldn't have gotten Dogu. So I guess it's good or bad, but you never can tell. But they're all part of a previous era and they're all under scrutiny. From what we've heard, Amorim isn't against working with Rashford. Basically, according to Athletic, he isn't against working with Rashford, but he's not making promises either. And Rashford probably knows that. So this early return, it's smart. It gives Amorim a chance to observe him up close, and maybe, just maybe, it's a chance for Rashford to reclaim a place in the new United that Amorim is trying to build. Maybe that striker that we all needed, that Amorim's versatile number 9 that can play across the front three and rival Rasmus Højlund as well. We never know. And the truth is, true Manchester United fans will want Marcus Rashford to work out at Man United, right? We want Marcus Rashford to work out at Man United. We want Marcus Rashford to have, put in a good effort, to work hard and to prove himself and prove to the manager and stop all this like PR and media stuff, so that the media doesn't kind of start to, build a narrative, even though that has happened over time. But maybe Rashford could just work out as the striker we needed, right? Played as a number 9 at Aston Villa, scored a couple of goals. And if he could pick up that 2022-23 form, that would be a great, he would be a great addition, like a whole new signing, 27-year-old, Premier League proven, has scored up to 30 goals in all competitions 2 seasons ago. And last season, we'll just call it a blip. And then next season, he gets like 15, 20 goals. I mean, if that works, then we might have a gem on our hands who has come to his peak, right? Because this should be the time when he should be coming to his peak if he has something to prove, right? But showing up early sends the right signal, obviously, because Amorim will get the chance to look at him. Amorim will get the chance to analyze him. Amorim will even get the chance to see maybe he can give him a second chance in this new United. And it just shows maybe intent, because all the other players could have easily shown up as well and say they want to prove a point. They don't mind. They want to work at the club till they find a new club and all of that. Maybe he could just apologize or, appeal to Ruben Amorim again and see if that works out. But, most of my United fans are kind of done with the whole Marcus Rashford thing and all of that. Yeah, so let's kind of zoom out for a second and look at the bigger picture. The Rashford story is really a symbol of United's whole transfer window. Trying to sell players, but nobody's buying. Announcing decisions, then quickly backtracking, or clearing space for signings, but also closing deals. Now, the situation with Rashford, and by extension, Sancho, Garnacho, and Anthony, as well as Tyrell Malacia, shows that the club is still struggling with timing, messaging, and the leverage in the market. Rashford's future might not be, completely settled this week or next. He may even stay and fight. He may still live. But right now, the reality is Marcus Rashford, stripped of the number 10 shirt. Maybe he could go back to the number 19. You never know. But stripped of the number 10 shirt, reportedly up for sale, walked into Carrington 2 weeks early, head down, excuse me, head down, ready to work. And if this doesn't tell you that he's not giving up easily, then I don't know what will, right? I don't know what will. So just thinking about the big picture, the whole concept and all of that. What do you guys think? Is Rashford showing heart, or is it a PR move? Yeah, most fans would pivot to this one and say it's a PR move, but it wasn't something that he had to show on social media. This is more like the Athletic, those who are in the know, putting it out there and saying he showed up, right? Is he trying to force Amorim's hand, or is he just quietly doing what professionals are supposed to do? He doesn't want to take an extra 2-3 weeks. He just wants to work, right? Whatever your take is, this story isn't over, right? And you better believe it. It will shape how Manchester United's summer unfolds. And that's all for today's episode, basically. But on a final note, let's look at it. Let's be very realistic about this whole thing. If Marcus Rashford works out eventually under Ruben Amorim, or Ruben Amorim gives him another chance and he proves himself, that would be like a new signing, right? And if he works out with Matheus Cunha, works out with Rasmus Højlund, if he works out with Joshua Zirkzee, and then maybe potentially Bryan Mbeumo, maybe we'll have Mbeumo, we could have a very versatile front three who are in their mid to late 20s, working out. Cunha 26, Mbeumo 25, Rasmus Højlund 22, 23, Joshua Zirkzee 23, 24, Marcus Rashford 27, and then we could have multiple combinations. Rashford, Cunha, Mbeumo, Rashford, Zirkzee, Mbeumo, Rashford, Cunha, and Zirkzee, Mbeumo, Cunha, Rashford, Mbeumo, Cunha, Højlund, Zirkzee, Cunha, Højlund. Whatever combination you might, Ahmad, Cunha, Højlund, any of these combinations could work for Manchester United. But what's your take? What do you think is happening with Marcus Rashford and why he's doing that? But let me know your thoughts on all of this, on this story. But whatever you do, please make sure to like, share, subscribe, follow us on all our social media, and leave us a comment about your thoughts and feelings about the whole situation. As always, let's keep our powders dry, stay sharp, and as always, glory Man United. Let's keep things on a level. I know everybody's anticipating and expecting the here we go for Bryan Mbeumo, but it keeps dragging, and it's a whole drawn out, full blown saga right now. For something we thought that was going to be a good transfer window that started early with getting Cunha sealed once and for all. But the difference between the Cunha deal and the Mbeumo deal is that the Cunha deal had a release clause, while the Mbeumo deal is not a release clause. It's just kind of player valuation, and that's the issue. And payment structure is also a concern, as I've seen in some outlets. But let me know your thoughts and feelings about the Rashford situation. Do you think he can come back? Do you think Manchester United should give him another chance? If not, let me know your thoughts and comment in the comment section, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care, goodbye, and God bless.